p.m. local time here. You'll see there's already people out and about. Okay, here we have our next Strava segment. Thank you to Strava for helping out with today's coverage. As I said, this climb here up to Champ-Lac is one of the crux sections of the course. It's a fairly short climb. There are some ups and downs to it. A 25-minute course record for the men, a 31-minute course record for the women, only 3.63 kilometers with 380 meters of elevation gain.
To Debo, as we did yesterday, we had a lot of fun with Strava. How's your Strava time looking on the on this particular segment?
Let me check. I don't think it was very good here. I remember Xavier was chasing me back in 2017, and I was feeling the wear and tear of the 70 miles or so that I had covered at that point. So we will see there on the left-hand side of your screen, actually kind of dead center now on that road that goes up to the left. Francois is going to be taking a left there, and he's going to begin his climb up. Let me see if I can pull up this segment here. Bear with me a moment. And here is Francois Dane. After 22 kilometers of descending, he is finally back on a climb, giving his legs a break from the impact. And we have a good view of his face here. Francois Dane, race leader, looking solid, jogging up the hill. He'll probably bust those poles out here momentarily that you see resting on his back. He's finally turned off his headlamp too. Helps us to see his facial expressions.
So, yeah, big fans for John Ray Onifa, otherwise known as Stingray from the Philippines. So Stingray, he's over the top of the Grand Col Ferret in 17th place, and Ryan Blair, the team manager of the North Face Adventure Team, Ryan was just saying that this is Stingray's first 100 mile, and he's from a small fishing village on Panay Island in the Philippines. So, yeah, the top of the Grand Col Ferret could not have felt so far away from a fishing village in the Philippines. So Stingray in the top 20, and as his manager says, he's running according to plan.
All right. Go Stingray.
Here we go. This is our second and third runners on the so Aurélien and Germain heading across the road here, chasing down Francois. We reckon there looks like a gap. We saw the time gap at La Folie was around about 10 minutes. And that looks like it's about the same.
Yeah, and these guys have been working together all night. For hours and hours, they've been running together. And I think it's worth mentioning that that can be very, very helpful. When one athlete may be dealing with a little bit of a rough patch. So, for instance, if Germain was not feeling great right now, the athlete sort of in second position there in their group, it's much easier for him to just kind of hold on to the backside of Orion, just like they do in cycling, working together, get in the slipstream. And here we have Francois Dane breaking the poles out, blowing the snot out, getting ready to make quick work of this climb. And, man, he is looking good. He's still jogging uphill.
Do you think Germain and Aurélien are thinking that maybe Francois still got a little bit of the hard rock in his legs and that they've still got a chance?
Well, I was just saying, obviously these guys are thinking about their own races, but I wouldn't be surprised if in the back of their heads they are recognizing that Francois Dane did do a 22-hour effort only 6 weeks ago. That does have consequences, as we all know, those of us who have done races like this. But Francois Dane is an anomaly. He is in a league of his own. There are only a few athletes in the history of our sport that you could compare him to, and he does not seem to be wearing any fatigue from the recent Hard Rock 100. He has been thinking about doing this double for the last 2 years. Of course, he planned to do it in 2020 before everything was canceled, and here he is executing perfectly in 2021, winning the Hard Rock 100, smashing the course record, going under 22 hours, the only person to ever do that on the Hard Rock course. He's also run 19 hours flat on the UTMB course, though is slightly different course that year due to weather detours. So Francois Dain still doing great. Here we have second and third place runners, also both Frenchmen. Aurélien Dunad-Palaz, a name that nobody was talking about this week. He is a compressed sport athlete, followed by Germain Grenier, an on-running athlete. And they are working together, as I just mentioned. Both still looking strong, of course. This is the section where it is important that you don't overextend yourself, as I mentioned before. They don't seem to be. They both look relaxed. 70 miles or so into this race. You can tell there's some fatigue in those legs. Not surprising.
Yeah.
So thanks again to Strava for providing some helpful assistance to our coverage at this year's UTMB as we follow Francois Dain on this particular segment.
So, yeah, we have our camera at La Folie, so we're waiting for Courtney Dauwalter to come into the aid station in the next 10 minutes or so. So that'll be our next visual of the front of the women's race. I can see Ragnar has moved up a spot at Arnuva. So Ragnar de Bat's now 7th on her way up to the Grand Col Ferret. She's chasing down Ailsa McDonald from Canada. Ailsa is 6th. And we've got Lucia Buella from Switzerland. She's 5th. Marion Delespierre is France in 4th. And we saw the top 3 already over the top of the La Folie. Camille Bruyas, Mimi Kotka, and Courtney Dauwalter.
Thank you, Keith. A good time to remind everybody to please do get involved with our coverage here. We'd love to hear from you on our YouTube channel. Look at that beautiful view of the Grand Col Ferret, the border between Italy and Switzerland. Athletes get to enjoy the early morning hours, hiking up over the top as we start to work our way into the middle of the pack here at UTMB. On our right-hand side, back on the left-hand side, race leader Francois Dain. Everyone at home, take note of his technique on this climb here. 70 miles into the race. He's got his 135-centimeter poles out, using his arms to dig his way up this climb. A mixture between single track and dirt road. Eventually he'll make his way into what we call the magic forest here below Champex-Lac. A really cool section of the course. Look at our athletes here. Look at this visual. Thank you to our either drone operator or helicopter pilot.
And that is Arrête Montfrave. So this is actually towards the back. So the backdrop here, we were there the other day. So this is on the way to Col Chacru before descending down to Courmayeur. And there you go. There is the backdrop towards the Mont-Blanc Massif. Little bit to the right for the Mont-Blanc. But yeah, wow, there's our heli is out this morning. The UTMB eye in the sky, kind of catching up with everybody. You can actually see on the race profile at the top of your screen the red block, so you can see where the front of the race is and where the back of the race is. So 46.5 hours is going to be the last runner, crossing the finish line 4:30 p.m. on Sunday. So that is 2 nights out on the course. So and actually, when the last runner comes in tomorrow afternoon, we'll also have the same time as the prize giving. So the elite runners who'll be running and they'll be finishing this afternoon, they are absolutely in admiration of those runners that stay out on the course for 2 whole nights.
No doubt, Keith. Thank you for saying that. I'm not sure that's something we've explicitly said yet in our coverage. But those athletes at the very back of the field, it's so inspiring to go down into Chamonix on Sunday to see them make their way to the finish line after 2 whole days out on the mountain. Oftentimes carrying a much larger pack than those you see here on our professional athletes. All these human beings with real life responsibilities, with real day jobs, with families at home, still getting out, setting big goals, and inspiring us all with their dedication with their perseverance, with their toughness. And here we have second and third place men's runners coming down into Prasfort, and we will see them make that left-hand turn.